So as the popularity of the jelly aquarium and jellyfish in general becomes more widespread, there are certain individuals who come across and offer to collect various jellyfish for me. This is a story of one of those collectors.
So here is our first test shipment from our Gulf of Mexico supplier. Let's see how well he's done.
Typically, fish, or in this case jellyfish, would be shipped in a styrofoam insulated box that's slipped inside a cardboard box. But my experience in the past has been if these boxes are loaded too heavily with bags of water, there's too much dead weight, and ultimately they push the bottom of the box out. So we've decided to ship in plastic coolers with a single large bag inside,
Well packaged,
packed with lots of insulated material.
Well, and it's a black bag, but you can tell there appears to be live jellyfish inside there, so that's a good thing. We now want to start acclimating them. We're going to allow the new jellyfish to acclimate for 2 or 3 hours before we move them into their new home. We've drawn some water via this airline siphon into the bag where the jellies are at so they can begin to get used to the water they're going into. And so again, we're going to allow these to sit here for the next 2 or 3 hours, and then we'll move them into their new home. So we've been acclimating for the last 3 hours the jellyfish that we just received this morning, and I think we're ready to put them into the tank now.
These moon jellyfish were collected from Florida on the Gulf of Mexico side. These jellyfish are very delicate. You could probably equate them to a piece of wet toilet paper. We're going to use a measuring container large enough to scoop the entire volume of the animal and contain him completely suspended in that container. This is to minimize any potential damage. We'll carefully and slowly introduce him into the new tank. The more experienced I become with the jellyfish, the more I begin to learn it's at this point, the acclimation and introduction aspect, that seems to be the first and greatest obstacle. And I really don't think it has anything to do with the actual acclimation process. I think it's more something to do with water chemistry, more so pH, more specifically the buffering aspect or the chemicals used to maintain that pH.
Well, they're all in, and based on the fact of what appears to be a bit of a buoyancy issue, meaning they all want to go up towards the top, not only did I have a problem starting the system, at least trying to sweep them away from the top, and I ended up kind of beating up a few of them, but in checking the salinities in the container that the jellies were shipped in versus the natural seawater here, there's a couple of points different. My water's 1021 and this is 1018, so that explains a little bit of the buoyancy issue, and I suspect in the long run I'll lose a number of these, which is rather frustrating, continually paying for the learning curve here. But I guess the answer is to spend more time acclimating in the future, so we can kind of avoid this kind of a situation. But you sure can tell the amount of organics that came in with the jellyfish. This protein skimmer had nothing going on in it until we introduced the jellyfish now, and you can see that it's already producing organic compounds. But the system, so far, seems to be working as it was intended. Just dealing with the livestock is the hard part.
Join us for part 2 to see how this shipment of jellyfish worked out.